The circuit below consists of 3 identical resistors, each with the resistance R, and 2 identical batteries with an EMF epsilon, and a capacitor with capacitance C. The capacitor is initially uncharged at t equals 0. And in part A, from Kirchhoff's junction rule, what is the relation between the 3 currents? So here we have a flow of current, I2, going into the junction, and it separates into 2 currents. So by the conservation of charge, I2 is equal to I1 plus I3. Now in part B, what does the loop rule, or Kirchhoff's second rule, yield if we traverse a left loop of the above circuit moving counterclockwise? And we're asked to take I1 as a rate of change of charge with respect to time, where the charge on the left plate of the capacitor is positive Q. So on the right we'd have minus Q. So if we start with the battery and going anti-clockwise around this loop, we're going from a lower potential to a higher potential, so we have positive epsilon, and going in a counterclockwise direction, we have a potential drop across the capacitor, so we have a minus Q on C, and there's a potential drop across the resistor in the direction of the current. So given we're going against the current, we're going from lower potential to a higher potential, so we have a potential increase across the resistor in this direction, using Ohm's law. And then across the top resistor, we have a decrease in potential in the direction of the current. So we have minus I1R. So by the conservation of energy, going around a closed loop, the net change in potential is 0. And now let's copy this, as we're going to reuse the quantities. And we'll go to part C. So we'll get rid of this. So we're asked, what does Kirchhoff's loop rule yield if we traverse the right loop moving counterclockwise? So going across the battery, we're going from a lower potential to a higher potential, so the change in electric potential is positive. And then we have a potential drop across the resistor, so we have minus I2 by R. And a potential drop across the second resistor if we're traversing the loop in the direction of the current, so we have minus I3 by R. And that's equal to 0 by conservation of energy. So let's copy our result and go to part D. So here we assume that both switches have been closed for a very long time, meaning T is much larger than a time constant. And we're asked, what is the current I1? So after a long time, the capacitor is fully charged, and therefore the current going through the capacitor is 0. Now let's move on to part E and get rid of these results. And again we assume that both switches have been closed for a very long time, so T is much larger than the time constant. What are the currents I2 and I3? Well, as we said, I1 is equal to 0 because the capacitor is fully charged, so therefore I2 is equal to I3. And if we substitute for I2 into the lower expression, we have the EMF minus I2 by R minus I2 by R is equal to 0. So therefore the current I2 is the EMF on 2 multiplied by the resistance. And I2 is equal to I3, so I3 is equal to epsilon on 2R also. And now we'll go to part F. We will again assume the switches have been closed for a very long time. What is the magnitude of charge on the capacitor? So using this expression, we have epsilon minus a charge on the capacitor, on the capacitance, and plus I3R, which is epsilon on 2R, by R, is equal to 0. So the R's cancel, and we obtain epsilon plus epsilon on 2, which is 3 epsilon on 2, is equal to the potential drop across the capacitor. So therefore the magnitude of charge on the capacitor is 3 by the capacitance by the electromotive force on 2.